Good morning, sir. I'm good, sir. Thank you.
Acha, Ananya, so is this the first time you're appearing in the interview?
Yes, sir. This is my first attempt.
Acha, first attempt and you have made it to the interview, so that is impressive, that is good. So
Thank
what we'll do is we'll cover the key areas of your DAF from where questions can come to you in the interview.
Yes, sir.
The idea is to cover the prominent topics that you need to prepare from for your DAF. And I would suggest that you make a list of the keywords of your DAF and send that to me on WhatsApp. So I
Yes.
will add to that list and I will add to that list and I will send that to Raj Malhotra's IAS study group. So they will develop a question bank for you. But do make sure that you send me that list so that the question bank can be developed. And once you get the question bank, you'll find questions regarding HR, situational opinion questions, as well as your DAF based questions. So it will have maybe 1200 to 1400 questions depending on the number of keywords of your DAF. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, huh, that is the first thing. So the first thing that you need to, the second thing is that when you get that question bank, do make sure that you research about each and every keyword of your DAF. It is not as if you can go with the mains based knowledge and then that will be enough because everyone who goes to interview has cleared mains. So if you just present that very content that you presented, or if you just present that very content that everybody else is giving, the panel members will not be very inclined to see you as any differently from the other candidates. So if that happens, the panel members tend to give just an average score to such candidates. Means why would they reward such candidate which is not presenting? So why would they reward a candidate who is not presenting anything new, any new perspective, or new analysis, new data? Nothing new is there in the discussion. So why would they reward such candidates? You get the point.
Yes, sir.
ठीक है. उसके बाद हाँ, after that, see, the idea is कि try to make a discussion group of 4 people so that you can discuss the opinion questions, HR questions, situational questions as well. And that way you will get new content, new analysis in your answers. ठीक है.
Yes, sir.
Hmm. Because a discussion group of 3 people is too less, you will get new, not new, get not you will not get new content. Discussion group of 5 people is too much, you will not get time to speak. So try to make a discussion group of 4 people, pose questions to each other the way you would be facing in the interview, and answer them the way you would be answering in the interview. So that will enable you to develop new content. That will enable you to develop fluency in structuring and answering and
Yes, sir.
presentation as well. ठीक है.
Okay, sir.
Then after that, see, the first thing that you need to prepare for your interview is your own name. The meaning of your name, prominent personalities by that name, their contribution to public life. What have you learned from them? What can you bring from that to civil service? Or what have you learned from the meaning of your name? How have you applied that in your life? After that, the next thing can be your date of birth and the date of your interview. So anything important that happened on the date of your birth and the date of your interview will become important by default if it pertains to Indian history, geography, economy, polity, culture, and current affairs. Other than that, you can go to Wikipedia and you can find a list of important events that happened on the date of your birth and the date of your interview. So from that, you can pick and choose whichever topics you're comfortable talking about, whichever topics you want to bring in the discussion.
Yes.
ठीक है.
Yes.
After that, the next thing can be your home state and home district. So you have mentioned Mehboob Telangana.
Sir. Yes, sir.
So about date of birth and date of interview, you were clear, right? It can be
Yes,
any
sir.
year, not just 2001. Okay, important events that happened pertaining to India, they will be important by default in any year. Then you can go
Right.
to Wikipedia and you can find events dating back to 200, 300, 400 years as well. So pick and choose whichever one you're comfortable talking about so that you can direct the conversation in your areas of interest. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
उसके बाद next thing can be कि Mehboob Nagar, Telangana, right? So when
Yes, sir.
places in your DAF, you need to prepare on the lines of society, geography, economy, polity, history, culture, current affairs, and salient issues. So salient issues for Telangana can be bifurcation, or then how has the economy of the divided Andhra Pradesh been affected by the loss of Hyderabad as the capital? How has the economy of divided Telangana, so new state of Telangana, how has that been affected because of loss of coastline? Then ranking of Telangana in indices of central government, be it state, city, or district, whichever ones are ranked. Then the next thing can be key ranking of see, some in some indices cities are ranked, in some indices entire state is ranked, in some indices districts are ranked. For example, aspirational district में districts are ranked. Performance grading of district में districts are ranked. Swachh Bharat में cities are ranked. So do make sure that you look into the rankings and you're aware ki what is SDA ranking of Telangana state, what is e-governance ranking of state, what is Swachh Bharat ranking of your cities, what is the smart city, how many smart cities are there, how many aspirational districts are there. Similarly, from Telangana, you need to prepare the impact of bifurcation.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that I mentioned. And next thing can be the reason for development of IT industry in Hyderabad, reason for development of pearl industry in Hyderabad. Okay, then the next thing can be key disaster management in Telangana, urban flooding, droughts.
Yes, sir.
ठीक है, उसके बाद डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट एक्ट, डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट प्लान, disaster management plan, disaster management act, disaster district management authority, district disaster management authority, national disaster management authority, national institute for disaster management, Sendai framework, Sendai framework, or then they can also go into prevention, mitigation, response, recovery, etc. ठीक है. Then the next thing can be key. Five problems of your state of Telangana, five solutions government is implementing. Then a Greyhound model to counter Naxalism. Why did Naxalism originally take root in undivided Andhra Pradesh? What were the factors? Now the Union Home Minister, Honorable Union Home Minister, has said that Naxalism will be eliminated in a year or two. So what initiatives has the central government taken? What is the Samadhan strategy? What learnings have you got from that? Or what learnings can Andhra Pradesh or Telangana take from that? Why was Greyhound model not implemented in other states? What were the reasons for success of the Greyhound model? What initiatives have been taken for the development of Naxal affected districts in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana? Then they can also go into major tourist destinations in Telangana, initiatives taken for water conservation in Telangana, like Mission Kakatiya. So what were the initiatives taken by Kakatiya dynasty for water conservation? Then the next thing can be key. Next thing can be regarding anthropology. ठीक है, तो initiatives taken by government of India for welfare of scheduled tribes. ठीक है, तो for what is tribal atlas, who prepares that, what initiatives have been taken for welfare of ST women, what is tribal subplan, what is tribal panchil, what are PBTGs, how are they different from other scheduled tribes, what is the status, what is the procedure to give the any group the status of a scheduled tribe, and then Forest Rights Act, Biodiversity Act, how is Environment Protection Act, or then do you think that land acquisition regime has been fair to scheduled tribes? What is your opinion regarding that? Because several people criticize that it has not been fair, but then if you think it is fair, so if you think it has been fair, so why this criticism has arisen? If you think it has not been fair, so what can you do or what suggestions do you have to make it fairer to the scheduled tribes? ठीक है, उसके
Yes.
then cultural relativism, holism, what is this? Then cultural anthropology or legal anthropology, social anthropology. So various branches of anthropology. What have you learned from anthropology? What can you bring from that to civil service? Human evolution. Where is it headed? Why did Neanderthals vanish? Or tribal? How did tribal culture evolve? Or why do tribal people prefer to wear colorful dresses? What is hands-off, eyes-on approach? Which tribes do we follow that with? Head hunting and human sacrifice is prevalent in certain tribes. So do we abolish that? What is your stand regarding that? Or then next thing can be key, what is integration and assimilation? What are the developmental challenges that scheduled tribes are facing? And what based on your learning of anthropology, what suggestions would you give to government of India as far as policy implementation goes? Then उसके बाद the next thing is anthropology में कि why did you choose anthropology? What will you bring from anthropology to civil service? Then agriculture, your family profession you have shown as agriculture. So agriculture will be important. And if you had come to me with agriculture in the panel, with agriculture family background, then first of all, I would have asked you that your family profession is agriculture. You are a humanities-based graduate. Ki geography, economy, English, any of these could have been taken as optional. You could have taken agriculture as optional. Why did you go for anthropology? ठीक है, फर्स्ट थिंग। सेकंड थिंग इज फ्रॉम लैंड रिफॉर्म्स टू एग्रोक्लाइमेटिक स्मार्ट क्रॉप सिलेक्शन टू सीड प्रोक्योरमेंट, जीएम क्रॉप्स, ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग, मिक्स क्रॉपिंग, इंटर क्रॉपिंग, हॉर्टिकल्चर मिशन, ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन, एवरग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन, देन sowing, irrigation, harvesting, storage, processing, marketing, export of agri produce. Then latest technologies like electronic technologies in that. Then have you ever visited in all these domains? I would have asked you questions in all or any of these rather. But
Yes.
just are that they will go one panel member might go entirely into agriculture if they see this, if they notice this, or if you are comfortable, you can bring this up. That is what directing the interview is basically. You bring up the topics that you're comfortable talking about. ठीक
Yes.
है, and if they're compelling enough, like agriculture, it is a very compelling topic for the interview. If they're compelling enough, the panel members might carry the conversation in that domain. So basically, try to have inputs and knowledge that more than what an average candidate who just reads the newspaper regarding agriculture may have.
Yes, sir.
So if I ask you that, what is the land productivity of your farm? What is the water productivity of your farm? And have you ever tried to calculate the MSP, A2 plus FL or C2, whichever, based on the inputs and numbers in your farm? What is the area of land that is viable for mechanization? What are the land reforms? And what kind of how much MSP cover, how much what percentage of farmers in your village or in your district have coverage of MSP? Okay.
Yes.
Then have you ever visited an agriculture produce market? What are the procedures there? What improvement do you see? What scope for improvement do you see in there? Then उसके बाद फिर then you had Sanskrit as your optional, you had Sanskrit as your subject in school. So tell me the from two strokes in Sanskrit, tell me the meaning and how have you applied that in your life? What can you bring from Sanskrit to civil service? Why is Sanskrit becoming so famous in research? Why is it called a classical language? Which languages have evolved from Sanskrit? And what literature has been written in Sanskrit? ठीक है, then the next thing can be कि संस्कृत में in which villages in India is Sanskrit still spoken? ठीक है, then
Yes.
history public administration in school. So and then history में they can go into what are the sources to study history and how do we remove biases from history? Should history be rewritten? And then who is your favorite historian? Who is your favorite character in history? If I were to give you a chance to change three events in history, one in ancient, one in medieval, and one in modern, what would those events be? Geography say they can, since geography is your graduation subject as well, so geography say they can go into environment. So hey, there's one topic. So Forest Rights Act, Biodiversity Act, Environment Protection Act, Environment Impact Assessment, or Forest Conservation Act, recent amendments to Forest Conservation Act, then Indian Forest Act or Wildlife Protection Act. All these things will be important anyway. Then they can also go into disaster management has been discussed. Then next thing can be regarding climate change. Key INDCs, India's progress towards INDCs, what is Paris deal, what is the outcome of COP28, what were the outcomes of Earth Summit? Okay,
Yes.
how will you
Yes.
circular economy? How will you implement circular economy? What can be the initiatives for waste management? ठीक है, then the
Yes.
thing can be key. Then the next thing can be in terms of in the subject economy. कि economy में they might not go into too much depth, but since you're an economic graduate, they can ask you some static concepts, but most of the questions will be around the GS based topics only. Having said that, your answer should be in depth. Your answer should be having much more deeper analysis that is in line with the graduation subject. So you should be able to use the things that you learned in the graduation subject, and you should be able to use that in answering. Okay. So,
Yes.
first of all, so they can go into maybe formalization, urbanization, poverty measurement, inequality measurement, unemployment measurement, initiatives taken to promote employment, entrepreneurship के लिए even initiatives. Then they can go into disinvestment and liberalization, market regulation, taxation, fiscal policy, monetary policy, and investment resource mobilization. Then internationalization of rupee. Do make sure that you're updated with the latest data, ki GDP, NNP, NDP, or GNP, or fiscal deficit, current account deficit, revenue deficit, budget deficit, tax collection in the last quarter, exports in the last quarter.
Yes, sir.
To make sure that you have that data with you, otherwise it becomes awkward that you don't know the data.
Yes, sir.
Then you come from uh, Nagar, Telangana, and then you went to Delhi for graduation. So compare
Yes,
and contrast the life in Delhi and Nagar. I was asked this question to compare and contrast the social structure of Bhopal and Kanpur. You might be
okay.
asked to compare and contrast anything, geography, economy, or social structure, or infrastructure development, or healthcare facilities.
Yes, sir.
Then Delhi University is a prominent university. ठीक है. So ranking of Delhi University in indices of central government like NIRF, role of UGC in regulation of higher education in India, ranking of DU in Times Higher Education, QS News, etc. And then initiatives taken to improve the ranking of DU in Times Higher Education and QS News. Then institutes of excellence, institutes of national importance, what are those? ठीक है. Then
Yes,
industry academia linkage, lab to field transfer of knowledge, industry funding of research, humanities पे what initiatives have been taken to promote humanities education in India? What is the status of implementation of new education policy in Delhi? Then state level essay competition by Varadi Foundation. So what does Varadi Foundation do?
sir. It's basically run by retired IAS officer, Sir Mohan Kanda sir, which basically tries to bring up ideas from the youth in order to maybe develop ideas and increase awareness among youth regarding various issues of policy and others, sir. So they conduct competitions, whether it is the essay competition or quiz competition, to encourage you to look into these issues that are happening in the country and the world.
Okay, ठीक है. तो what was the essay? What was the topic about which you wrote the essay? And do make sure that you study about the general studies related aspects. You might have written multiple essays. It is not just one competition where
Yes,
state level competition happens, but then it must have been in multiple phases. You must have written multiple essays. Try to bring up the topics that you're comfortable talking about.
yes,
And
sir.
to look into the initiatives by Ministry of Youth and Sports Affairs and Education Policy, because you are
Yes,
teaching, and then this thing regarding critical analysis and development of those capabilities, you that also relates to teaching, and you are also into teaching, by the way.
yes,
ठीक है. फिर टीचिंग के बारे में भी वी कैन डिस्कस की प्राइमरी सेकेंडरी हायर एजुकेशन टीचिंग मेंटरिंग में डिफरेंस techniques and technology, what new techniques and technology are there, what can be the pedagogy and what can be the curriculum reforms, then alternative systems of learning like adaptive learning, flipped learning, knowledge creation by child, activity based learning, Delhi education model, Finland, Japan, China, Sweden, Singapore, the education model of these countries, how is it different from Delhi education model and what can we incorporate from the education model of these countries. Then ASER report of Pratham National Achievement Survey, global education monitoring report, recent schemes of government of India like PM Shri or the Diksha portal, Sathi platform, or NCERT given deemed to be university status. So, what is the outcome of that? What is why was it needed? And then performance grading of district school education quality index. Then how to be develop how what curriculum should be developed for value education in students, and what is the status of implementation of national education policy? What changes would you want to bring in, and what is the status of Right to Education Act?
yes, sir.
ठीक है. Then finalist medal Sakshi India. Sakshi India spell bee competition. What is Sakshi India?
So it's a prominent media group in the twin states of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, sir. So it has conducted state level competitions. Basically, it's a spelling bee contest for school students. So I was a finalist.
Okay, so Sakshi India says, since you mentioned media group, so they can go
Yes,
to social media, electronic media, digital or print media initiatives for regulation of media. What is the role of press council? What is the role of press trust of India? Self-regulation model, and what are the prominent bodies working in that other than Press Council of India? ठीक है.
yes,
Then
yes.
they can also go into if media is biased. What do you think media is biased in India recently, and why has this discussion come into public discourse? What are the instances that make people feel that media is biased? If media is biased, then what can be done? Or then what are journalistic ethics, or what can be done to counter paid media? What can be done to counter fake news? Okay. Then what can be the revenue sharing model between media outlets and social media outlets? What can be done to regulate social media? Then finalist medal, Sakshi India Geography B competition. Geography has already been talked about. Other than that, there is not much new because you have mentioned. Acha, so since you mentioned NGOs, so Do make sure that you study about laws and regulations that govern NGOs. Why were the registration of certain NGOs cancelled recently?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है, what is FCRA? What are the salient provisions of FCRA?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है, फिर लीड मेंबर इम्प्लीमेंटेशन प्लान ऑफ ग्रीन नजेस, मिरांडा हाउस. ग्रीन nudges, so they can go into behavioral economics and climate change.
Yes,
Economics,
sir.
where one topic was missed in the discussion is behavioral economics. We already talked about climate change and environment conservation and circular economy, waste management rules. So
Yes,
what
sir.
kind of green nudges did you design? And based on your experience of nudges, can you design a nudge, not necessarily green, but can you design a nudge for people to take up insurance, health insurance or life insurance, or any other scheme for government of India for that matter?
Yes, sir.
Okay, which does not have good uptake as was expected. So can you design nudges for XYZ? They can ask you this thing.
Yes.
And then based on your experience of implementation plan, can you develop a plan for upcoming Kumbh event in your district? 6 months ahead, there's a Kumbh event, Mahakumbh. So how can you plan? Okay.
Yes.
Then global youth. So do make sure that you look into issues of youth like healthcare issues, mental health issues, or then employment, employability, entrepreneurship, skill development, radicalization. Do make sure that you look into these issues that youth is facing.
Yes, sir.
फिर उसके बाद Dan Brown fiction. So why just Dan Brown? Why not anyone else? Why not Agatha Christie? First of all, that. Then what can you do using your knowledge of technology to promote reading culture in India? What are the initiatives taken by Sahitya Academy, National Book Trust? What are the awards and honors? Why not non-fiction as well? Why just Dan Brown, and why not other authors, and why just fiction? Why not non-fiction? Then recent recipients of the awards and honors. What why is the interest of youth declining in reading, and how can we promote that? What have you learned from reading? What can you bring from that to civil service? Then watching cricket. So whenever there are sports in your DAF, you need to prepare on the lines of rules and regulations, history, static evolution, techniques and technology, personalities associated with those sports, initiatives taken for promotion of sports in general in India, initiatives taken for promotion of cricket in particular. Then impact of IPL on cricket, then 100 ball cricket. Is it the end of the line for test cricket? The new technologies that are being used in cricket, then spot fixing, controversies associated with that with cricket, BCCI reforms, then DODA committee's recommendations, Supreme Court judgment, do you think that it was judicial overreach on part of judiciary? Then what awards and honors recently have been given in sports? What is Target Olympic Podium? What is Khelo India? And then recently Khelo India was covered extensively in Indian Express. So what has been the outcome of Khelo India? What is the initiative of Sports Authority of India for promotion of sports? What innovative model can you promote? Can you suggest for the promotion of sports? उसके बाद next thing can be कि अच्छा, तो what has been the impact of IPL in terms of commercialization of cricket?
Yes.
ठीक है. Then आपका कार्डर प्रेफरेंसेस, फर्स्ट इज तेलंगाना, सेकंड इज महाराष्ट्र, थर्ड इज उड़ीसा, फोर्थ इज राजस्थान, फिफ्थ इज सिक्किम. आईपीएस में इज इट द सेम? फर्स्ट इन तेलंगाना,
Yes.
सेकंड इज महाराष्ट्र, थर्ड इज उड़ीसा, फोर्थ इज राजस्थान एंड फिफ्थ इज सिक्किम. सर्विस प्रेफरेंस में आईएएस, देन आईपीएस, देन customs, income tax, fifth is audit, sixth is foreign service, seventh is railway management, eighth is defense accounts, ninth is civil account service, and tenth is postal service. ठीक है. So anything not much odd in that except your foreign service preference, that is at fifth. So that might be a question ki why have you preferred for foreign service at fifth, right?
Yes, sir. Six, sir.
Sixth after audit and account. So what is the reason?
Yes, sir.
So other than that, I don't have anything much to contribute now. If there's anything that you want to ask or discuss, we can discuss. Otherwise, we can conclude the session, and I would suggest that you send me the keywords of your DAF.
Yes, sir. Sir, like you talked about directing the interview. Sir, can you tell about how to like,
That
I
I've
mean,
explained. Have a look at the interview guidance series that I've explained. That
okay.
in my Weber sir WhatsApp group twice. So I've explained that in that series.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, I think that is it, sir. Sir, also like regarding differentiating one's answers, because we tend to mostly put out whatever the content we have read for mains on the interview thing also, like how to add new perspectives or maybe how to
Like
make it a conversation.
like I explained in the starting of the interview, you have to research each and every topic of your DAF.
Yes,
You'll get
sir.
more content online. Try to read editorials, try to read reports. If you read just the same content, newspapers and compilations and standard books that everybody is reading, obviously you'll have the same content in the
Yes.
interview. But if you read more, you'll get new content. So for that, you need to work hard, basically.
Yes. Yes, sir. That is it, sir.
Well, then, good luck. Take care.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.